Ladies and gentlemen, the moment that you've all been waiting for. I like that.
That was terrible.
I like the little sound effect. The Blue Mug Podcast is back for another episode of a steamy, cold episode of
The Blue Mug Podcast.
Ooh, tastes so good. That was dumb.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never seen someone nibble sit before.
Today we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Creede Dawkins. Let's give Creede a round of applause.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Creede,
Yes.
tell me a little about yourself. Actually, before we do that, Creede, what are we drinking?
We are drinking the old Mellow Yellow.
Mellow Yellow. Let's pour some Yellow Mellow.
Yeah.
I have never had Mellow Yellow before.
I haven't either.
Me and Caleb were buying this the other day.
Honestly, I am thirsty.
I am too. This is going to be good. Oh, Creed's getting that long shot. We'll set that right here. Caleb, is this the... You got to put it up to the microphone. Okay. Oh, yeah, what am I doing? I need to put this right here. Okay. So, first sip of the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Let's clink it, and we'll drink it. Oh,
Hey,
okay,
yeah.
Caleb, I guess we won't clink.
We're
Okay, that's
close.
fine. Okay.
So the reason it's called Mellow Yellow is because it's mellow. With a bit of yellow. You know, it gets a little punch, you
I
know?
like it.
With a bit of yellow. I didn't know
Yeah.
yellow was to describe energy.
Well, it's bright, so it's like...
Oh, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I'm a smart aleck.
The sun provides energy.
The sun provides energy.
It is yellow, thus mellow yellow.
Yeah, it's kind of...
It kind of tastes like a juice.
It does a little bit. But
This is amazing.
if you'll read on the label, it says
drink with caution.
less than it says less than 1% juice, so it's most definitely not a juice.
Well, my apple juice says that too. So
And that's not apple juice.
That's sad. That's sad. Oh, man.
Okay.
Well,
So, we're drinking some Mellow Yellow. We're having a good time today.
Miller Yeller.
Creede, I first met you back in the old days, back when I was in digital media.
Last week.
And yeah, Creede, I met you last week, and we were in Barth Cox's.
whew,
What? Yeah, jeez. What was that? What class was that?
video production.
Video production.
And
That's
web
it.
design.
And web design and After Effects
Right.
or motion
This
graphics.
is all over my head.
Yeah, it was all over my head too. That's how me and Creede became friends because he knows everything.
And he was
I don't
like,
know everything.
"Hey,
Well-
I'm gonna help you not fail."
Yeah, he said, "Listen here, buddy. This is what you need to know." And I said, "Okay, I'm willing to learn." And honestly, I learned more from Creede than I did the teacher. Yeah, I'm calling you out, Barth. Anyway.
Shots fired.
Okay, and here's another thing. I'm not bitter. Okay? Me and Caleb have been talking. In every episode, there seems to be the case where I sound bitter about something. So we're going to start a new segment on the show called I'm Not Bitter, where I can just say whatever I want to, and at the end, it's okay because I say I'm not bitter. We're not going to start that this episode, but we're going to start it some other episode.
There you go.
But the reality is, you actually are pretty bitter.
I'm not bitter, Caleb.
Okay.
I'm not.
We wouldn't have to have a bitter segment if you were bitter.
Yeah, that's very true. We wouldn't have to have a... Yeah.
Just face it. Just face
See,
it.
I'm not, though. Anyway, okay. So, Creede, tell us a little about yourself. Where do you come from?
Well, I was born right here and raised West Monroe. I grew up in a Christian home. I started out woodworking. This is how this all started. Because if you think about everything in life, everything has a foundation. Everything has to be built. Everything has parts and pieces that need to be assembled, cut, what have you. So I started with woodworking. My grandfather was an avid outdoorsman. So, deer hunting, duck hunting, fishing, all that kind of stuff. Well, I started building, naturally following after him, started building duck blinds and deer stands and such. And that's how I got into construction. And this whole journey is all about God. It really is. That's the best foundation. If you want to do something right and you want to be the best at what you do, you've got to have a solid foundation. Well, mine's on Jesus, just point blank. So, started building in construction. I did that for a long time. I started my own woodworking business. Everything was fine. I even worked as a professional set designer for a theater productions at
What
high school.
What theater? Or what
Western High School
Oh, okay.
production.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And so anyway, I did all that for a while, and then I got hurt on the job.
What happened?
It was Beauty and the Beast, and actually it was High School. It was between Beauty and the Beast and High School Musical. I was building one of the walls. Beauty and the Beast was a 2-story.
Like tower thing.
It was a real castle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And I had a 2-story wall, and I was trying to frame it up anything, and I come down and caught it. I was trying to hold it up by myself, and I had to move the stud plate over at the bottom of the wall, and I kicked it, and I was trying to hold it. Well, I went between the stud. I didn't have any fire blocks in it yet, so
Oh
I
my
went
goodness.
between. But I knew if I let it drop, it's gonna bust a hole in the stage. So your natural human reaction is reach back and grab it. Well, I reached back and grabbed it, and it essentially knocked out 11 vertebrae out of my back.
Oh
It
my
knocked them out.
gosh.
Like when I went and got my X-ray, it literally did a zigzag.
Jeez.
So that was a big flag. For almost a year, I had to not do hardly anything. So, but thank God the next year, the play come back around. I had a lot of help,
Yeah.
but I was still able to continue. But anyway, the point is, I knew then that construction is probably not the best suit for me to keep a healthy lifestyle after that accident. I don't want, because if I ever flare it up again, it may not go back.
Yeah.
So, I'm just trying to take
you
care of
can't mess
myself.
around with back.
So, working with the high school and and everything, and here's how I got into video. I was doing construction, everything. I was going construction at ULM. I was going to do the construction management.
I did that actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Oh, good. You still in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother, he's
I graduated a couple years ago.
my brother's doing that. He's doing the construction
Thanks to me.
management stuff. Yeah. Thanks to
There you
Caleb.
go. So anyway, I don't want to keep this too long. But anyway,
No.
so I was going into construction management, and of course the whole time, I'm going to church and I'm talking with pastors and doing Bible studies and everything. I really wanted to know before I went to college, because college is a big step. College is kind of what you
It
said?
is.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And so I was like, what would be the best way to approach it? Obviously, it's like you need to pray about it. You need to figure out where God's wanting to lead you and how you're going to approach this next step of your life.
Right.
I was called into music ministry. And I was thinking, God, I know music. I've been in band all my life, everything. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I went into music, and of course UM has a fantastic music faculty, staff, everything.
Yeah.
So we started with music. Everything was great. 2 weeks in, I will say that music theory was part of the. Anybody that in music will say music theory is what makes or breaks you. But it wasn't.
Why
just,
is that? Why is it just because it's
Well,
boring?
It's
or-
just music theory.
I took a music class and I wanted to just.
You probably took music
I just wanted to take two
appreciation.
pencils and just stab my eardrums out because I did not.
Was it music appreciation?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I hated
Let's say
that.
music majors didn't have to take that. So I
music
didn't have
theory
to
is worse.
So anyway,
Really?
yeah. It's not worse. It's
It's not worse, but it's a different.
It's not worse, but it definitely is worse.
Well, I will say this: the professors there, they're great professors. But if you don't keep up, especially this one professor, no names, but he's
No, say the
teaching-
name. Say the name right now.
Mel Mobley.
Oh, I didn't think he was going to
Dr.
say
Mobley.
it.
Yeah, Dr. Mobley.
Shots
But anyway,
fired.
and here's the deal:
We're
he's a
keeping it in.
He's a great teacher. He really is. But here's the deal:
He's a
about-
great teacher, but I absolutely hate him.
No. I like the guy. He's a great guy. He's kind of weird, but he's a great guy. But he doesn't know how to work with different students at different levels. If you're not on his level, you ain't gonna make it. You
Sounds like
gotta-
another teacher that I mentioned earlier.
No, I mean, and there's no shots fired from me. I don't know about y'all. But
No, there's definitely
Yeah, I
shot
know
fired
there's
from
shots
me.
fired.
I haven't said a word except for shots fired.
He's safe. But anyway, it's like you either keep up or you don't, and that's another thing I'm gonna get to in teaching later on. But
Okay.
anyway, but it wasn't him or the class that did it. I knew something was wrong. I'd go to class and I'm like, I had all this passion and full of joy and full of the fruit of the spirit, and I'm just in class going, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this ain't right. I mean, and it wasn't just music. I'd go to band, I'd play all day long on my, on low brass and
Like
stuff.
doing stuff you love.
Yeah, which is, I do love music a lot, but you know, I was like, God, something's wrong. You know, when you have that gut feeling, you know something's wrong. I'm like, God, what is it? And what's funny about that is that I started in the fall. I told you the music story first because I'm going to go back to when I started college.
Okay.
At that same time, doing the music ministry and music education, when I got to band camp, I'd already been through the construction accident very recently. So I wasn't stable enough to march because, you know, marching is extremely, because, you know.
What instruments did you play?
All brass.
All brass. Okay. So you had, did you play like the tuba or anything?
I did play the tuba.
I'm asking that because that's kind of a weird question, but I'm asking that because, I mean, you have to put that thing on. So I'm sure that would hurt your back if you had to walk around for 3 hours.
I played the euphonium, and actually that's the worst one to march with.
The euphonium?
It's a baritone, basically.
Okay.
It's just an extended baritone. And basically it's a 12.5 pound, but it's the biggest one that you hold upright. A tuba goes on your shoulder, whether it's concert or sousaphone. And that was the worst one to have, and that's what I played. But anyway, so I got there, and I'm like, you know, it's first day at band camp. I don't know anybody there. You know, I know them because I've auditioned and stuff on, but I'm like, you know, I don't know what they're like, you know.
Yeah.
I get up there, and I'm like, you know, signing up for band camp, like, I can't march. And they're like, you know, I was thinking, you know, they're just going to rap me out. Like, you signed up for band camp, can't even march, you big deanie. You know, I'm like, what are you going to do? Anyway, I'm just like, God, just take care of it. Went up there, and I'm like, sign your name, fill out this form. I'm like,
well, you're missing 11 vertebrae. You idiot. Get up there and march.
Well, I'm not missing them. They're just a little
Don't have
bit collie
your
white.
legs.
Yeah.
Would that be a problem?
Just floating out there.
My back is literally an S. Is that a problem?
Which direction? But anyway, so I went in there, and they were like, I can't march. I'm like, well, great. You know, they were like, oh, you know, kids, he's like, oh, okay. You know, he's real laid back. And I was like,
Okay.
I'm like,
Oh, okay.
so I'm like, well, what can you do? I'm like, well, you know, I do all, you know, I can build stuff for the band. I can do this, you know, little things. I'm like, well, I film. You know, I take pictures and I film. And they were like, you do? I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm not the best, but I mean, I've done it. And I can do it. And they were like, well, you're a full-time videographer.
Oh.
I'm like, you know, I just got a camera.
What if Creed was like just lying out of his butt? Just like,
I'm not.
he was like, I know he's not, but like, what if he went up there and they're like, what do you do?
Well, I can't march. So,
I can't march. I video. Yeah, I video. Okay, well, you're the permanent video man. Oh crap. Oh man. Oh, what I do?
No, well, thankfully I'd been messing around with camera. I've always been a tinkerer. Man, you know, when I sat down this morning trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about, I never knew how easy it would be to have to like flash back in life, like when you talk about it, have to reconnect.
Oh yeah.
things.
Oh, I
once
love-
once you get
You know
started.
what I'm saying?
I love
'Cause
talking
I
about
would
the
love
good
it to be
old
all,
days.
You know, I would love it to be all nice and cleaned and laid out. But anyway,
Yeah.
so to back up a little more so I can go forward, I don't know. It's like I'm like Mater. You know, back up. Don't even know where I'm going. You know, I'm just like. So I had to throw a little bit in there. No, I'm just kidding.
This man is the biggest car franchise fanatic that I've ever met. He loves the cars.
Boy, I thought I could hold it together.
Once we brought out the cars, he was like,
I
I'm
know,
gone.
I'm gone, baby. So anyway, no. Well, thankfully, I'd been filming, with the duck hunt stuff. I started filming duck hunts, and I would always watch TV and watch these hunts. I'm thinking, man, I can do that. And I'm like, well, I ain't got nothing to film with. I had a little flip. Can you remember the old flip cameras and stuff? And
Yeah.
then my mom got me a little JVC, the little flip out. I'm like, I got a screen, man. I'm doing good. No. So anyway.
I remember I got one of those.
Yeah. So I'm like, I kept watching TV. I'm thinking, mine just don't look like that. So I started, what does it take to be a producer and what does it take to do good quality video? And I had just gotten the Sony Alpha 5100.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
just gotten it like that summer. I've been playing around with it, whatever.
Yeah.
So when I started, I had a brand new camera and didn't know too much about the advanced stuff, but I had, had a computer and everything and edited some. And I got there and then, first week of band camp, I had to film all band camp. You had 6 days, and then I had to produce a video at the end of that 6th day. For
So you
band
had
camp.
a week.
Yeah, I had a week.
Wow.
But I had to film every day. That 6th day, I had to film
So
all
you,
the way up to
so you
noon.
had like a day.
Yeah,
You
so I
had
had
a
a
day
day
to
to turn
edit.
it around.
Wow.
So I was like, that.
I don't know if anybody out there is in video, That's extremely hard.
Yeah.
That is extremely hard.
Yeah.
We would have projects due in our video production class, and they'd be like, okay, you have like...
We got videos we did for the podcast 2 weeks ago that we still haven't done.
Yeah, they're
be
still sitting on the hard
There
drive.
you go.
Yeah.
It's hard. It
It takes time.
It does. And then because you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, I can make it better. Oh, I can do this. And you start like second guessing yourself. And then it turns into, oh, it's 6 in the morning. I got to go.
Yeah. But, well, I tell you this. I prayed about everything. I prayed over the computers, over the camera, the cards, every byte, every frame, everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's all in God's hands. And that's how I was able to do it. I mean, I had to turn around that day and I'm thinking,
Please.
go for it. You know, but, you know, I never thought that I couldn't do it. I never was like, you know, not. What?
No, I was just talking about the camera, saying
Okay.
everything's still good.
But yeah, and I'm not being, you know, braggy or nothing.
No,
but
go ahead.
I've never had that. Man, I wish I could do that, but I can't do that. You know, I always had a positive attitude going in. Like, you know, if I don't know how to do it, I ain't gonna stop until I figure out how to do it.
That's
so,
how I am.
so
That is not how I am.
No.
I can't figure it
well,
out.
obviously,
I
from
quit.
class,
Never
you know,
picking
you're
it up
like,
again.
Man, this, you know, man, this thing's stupid, man.
Yep, that would be me in
and
class.
Then, and then Bart would be like, "Shut up, Connor!" And, rah, 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 and then they get to be all thing. I'm like, "Shh, Connor, shut up!" You know,
I'll show you.
you know what I mean? It's like, but
I
anyway,
get ticked off.
Yeah.
Really easy.
One time, well, I'm gonna leave that out.
No,
One
say
time-
it.
No, one time we were taking these. All right, so the classes had these video. You had the real world projects.
Oh, man.
And then you had the test. The test had nothing to do. I mean, they did. You know,
No, they didn't,
Oh,
Creed.
well,
no, they didn't.
It's a theatrical. It's a not theater. I can't speak English. It's a
Theoretical.
Theory, yeah, it's a theoretical perspective of testing to see how much you've learned and how to applicate it.
Well,
But
those
it's
theoretical
the,
tests could kiss my tail, okay? 'Cause
So
I
anyway,
hate those things.
and anyway, we took one, and it's like everybody looked up to me as a leader, you know, and I'm trying to set an example and everything, and we all made the same grade. Like I made a 47, you actually made like
A 27.
No, I made like a. It was alongside what you made. I remember
yeah,
that.
we were like, I think he beat me like 2 points or something. He probably guessed. He probably didn't know.
I did. I guessed on literally everything, and yeah, we the one guy. What was his name? I'm not gonna say his name, but he was sitting behind us, and I was ticked off.
Yep.
I was like, Bart, this is bull crap. Like none of this stuff that. Pardon my language. This is, I'm gonna say it. This is bull crap. This is And I was like, this is crap. Like, why are you like none of this stuff on this test has anything to do with what we're doing, what we're talking about. And he was like, well, that's just how the test goes. And the guy behind me,
See, Bart left the room,
goes
a little bit, yeah.
he left the room for a little bit.
and then everybody in the class is like, "Rah!" You know,
it's like Barth knew that we were gonna like blow up, and he was like, "I'll give you a minute." Like he
I'm
left.
gonna leave.
Yeah, he said, "I'm gonna step out for a minute." So he leaves, and this guy behind me just goes bananas. He is like, I mean, just cussing, screaming, like this is bull crap.
That's not what he said.
That's all he
That's not what he
said.
said,
But
yeah.
anyway, so Barth comes back in. We're all like kind of calm, like not really,
Ish.
but we're like, yeah, we're calm.
y'all are.
And the guy behind me just unloads on the teacher. Just starts like cussing at him, saying like, Barth, I can't believe you give us a test like this. None of this, blah, 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 blah. And then it was like, and I guess that stuff, now I will admit, I did not crack the book once. So that could be the problem.
Well, that's a problem.
That could be the problem. But,
I went back and looked at the book. There wasn't in there.
okay, so it's not my fault. So
Still a problem.
Barth was like, okay, you know what? After the guy finished yelling at him, he was like, okay, you know what? Next test is going to be different. So come back, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks after that, we have another test. And he's like, okay, this is a practicum. You are going to replicate a video that I make. We're like, okay.
Easy.
I wish we would have kept the test because those videos were so hard to recreate. Now, Creed would do it. He would do it no problem. But all of us, we were like, when did we learn this? And just going crazy. And I remember one time, one of the tests, I made everything look exactly like Bart's. Everything. We had to make pre-compositions and do different stuff with those. And that's the only word I learned in that class was pre-composition, so I try to use it every
does it
chance
mean?
I don't know. No.
You don't even know what it means.
I know what it is,
I
but
know
I can't explain it.
Right.
I like to use big words and sound pre-composition.
Yeah. Oh, I had a big pre-composition today.
Yo,
Oh, my pre-composition's really messing with me today. Anyway, so
I'm sure that's not a part of
I-
the anatomy.
I get, I do it, and I do it exactly like his. I get my test results back. I made an F. I was like, Barth, why do I have an F? He said, well,
You copied me.
you. Well, you copied me. You didn't make your. Yeah, he said, well, you only made 2 compositions. I made 4. It's like, how are we supposed to know this?
wait. That's what he said?
That's exactly what he said. He said, you made 2 compositions and I made 4. And I was like, why does it matter? You literally, like, we've made the same thing.
So
And
wait,
I got
wait.
really
Let,
ticked
me,
off.
let me get this straight. You made the same thing, almost pixel per pixel, for what he had.
But I'm not bitter. Okay, now we can continue.
A hashtag.
Right.
Hashtag I'm not bitter.
So you created the same thing that he did in
Yes.
2 comps, and he did it in 4.
Yes.
And he's going to downgrade you for doing it more
Yes.
efficiently.
Yes.
But I do understand his perspective, however, as far as a teacher is concerned, is that if you pre-comp every layer separately, you have more control. But that's...
But
But at the end of the day, if it's the same
At
content...
the end of the day, Connor's still bitter.
at the end of the day, I have pre-composition.
errors. I'm just like...
Yeah,
Oh,
so
man.
like that's just one of the many stories.
Whew.
That was a good one.
It was
Yeah.
only 1 semester. Whew.
Yeah. Well, I had it for 2 semesters.
Well, that's right.
and I was ready to pull my hair out. I did.
All right,
I
so
can't-
anyway, we got completely off track.
We
but,
did. Oh, well.
well, it's not off track. But anyway, where were we at? I don't
you were
remember.
talking about actually the last thing that I remember us talking about was the baritone. And that was not the last
He's
time.
been out for a while.
No,
but-
I promise. I've been paying attention.
Okay.
But
Oh, it was.
I'm trying to think of where.
Oh, Bandcamp.
He had-
I was
he had
editing
7
the video.
days to do the
Yeah, I
video.
had
7 days, that's it,
Yeah,
7
we were
days.
talking about editing.
Yeah.
So anyway, man, whew. I guess we just had to get the stuff out about
Yeah.
the teacher.
But we're not bitter.
To be decided.
Oh man. But anyway, all right. So that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you think about it? No. So anyway, that's how I got started as far as videos. I got to the college.
You kind of got thrown to the wolves.
I did, but you know what? I was ready for it. I wanted a challenge. I wanted something that I knew I could handle to where it wasn't, And another thing, God never puts us in a situation that we can't handle ourselves with His help.
Very true.
People think that, well, God allowed us to do, allowed this to happen. I can't handle it. There's always a way out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a way out, and like avoiding.
There's always
it.
a reason.
There's always a reason.
I think he won't give you anything that you can't handle with him.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what
Because
I'm
I can't handle school by myself, for sure.
no.
Yeah.
I would come home many nights and I'd just be like, "Oh my God, help me!" Like,
But you obviously didn't crack a book, so like.
yeah, I'm a bad example. So, but he tried. He was like, "Connor, the book is right there. Just pick it up."
But I can't.
But I can't, God. I need you.
It's too far.
Just pick it up.
I honestly believe that like he doesn't put us in situations that we can't handle.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that like he helps people that help themselves. If that makes
Exactly.
sense.
If he's only going to help you if you're willing to help yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like you can pray about something and pray about something,
But if you
Exactly.
put
never-
faith without action,
yeah,
it's worthless.
dead.
exactly.
Yeah.
If you never do anything towards it, it's like
Exactly.
Yeah.
you never get anywhere.
That's very true.
So, but anyway, I wanted something that was a challenge and something that would prepare me for the future. And so it was like, okay, I started filming. I'm still in music. I had a great professor, Dr. Layfield, James Layfield. He was the
remember
reason. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember.
He was the reason why I went to UM. He, praise God for this, 6 months before school started, when nobody else was getting scholarships, I had a full scholarship ride. I had already signed all my tuitions and everything for the music program and everything.
Wow.
I was already taking lessons, getting ahead of schedule to where when school started, I was already musically prepared for lessons, for interviews, for all that kind of stuff for music.
Yeah.
So it was like, that was a God thing right there. And everything was paid for. I'm like, this is obviously the answer. So God used music to get me to the right school with the right people, and then knew that he was going to flip the table on me to put me in the right direction, but he knew he wanted me at that school for a reason.
Right.
So, and there's been a lot of ministry outside of the classroom that's totally worth. I've actually seen somebody that I met that moved in completely out of state and everything, that God has used me to help that person's life completely from scratch, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like Jesus said, he leaves the 99 to help one. It's like if we do everything in our lives and we help one person meet God and serve God, we've done our job.
Yeah.
It's very true.
So anyway, so that's what started there. And then I'm telling you, God lit a fire under me, and I started. I was like, I had this cheap little HP computer. It was a desktop, and I'd pre-bought it, and I started out with Sony Vegas. You remember Sony Vegas?
Yeah, I do.
That's what I started out with. And man, I'd push that little booger. I had, that little 1 terabyte. that thing would run all day long. But anyway, so I had that push, and I kept maxing out. I wasn't frustrated, but I was just like, well, I guess I was a little bit. It just wouldn't run. It was inefficient, and I was like, I've got to keep going. So I started looking at computers and everything, and I was like, I've got to continue this.
Colin's about to walk in.
Is he?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Well, hello there.
Sorry, guys.
We're
We're going to take a quick break.
Intruder alert. Intruder alert.
Colin, are you going to be leaving? You are?
Yeah, about 12:30.
Oh, 12:30?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
And action.
And we're back.
Okay. So anyway, I was trying to get a computer and everything. I was like, I couldn't find one that would suit, because I would do. Now, this is something that I do that I don't know a lot of other people do. First of all, I pray about everything. I told you, every part, everything.
Mm-hmm.
I literally would do 2 to 6 hours of research a day.
For what?
Just trying to find.
I'd break it down into like 3 sections: computers and how they worked and what parts did what, video production as a whole, and then applications of how businesses run and everything to kind of keep a package going. It's like, what do you take financially? How do you run a bit? How do you? I've already had a business, so I know how they run. But it's like how to optimize your money, how to manage it, and everything.
Oh, you want me to close it?
So anyway, it's like, I would always micromanage everything, but I would literally sit in there, watch videos, but read a lot of articles about, and go to the highest source, IBM, HP, these big animation studios, and just what do they do? How do they run? What do you? And I'm telling most people call me crazy. I mean, it's like I come straight at the computer, and I'd look and read and everything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm gonna build my own computer. I'm like, I can't find what I want. They're too expensive for price per dollar for part. I was like, out of faith, I'm gonna build a computer. So I built a computer. I started working with it, and it was like, at that time, it's like from what I come from to what I built was like, it blew the water, and it allowed me to create a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and man, when I built that computer, it was like every time God opened a new door, it was an exponential jump, not just a gradual. I mean, exponential. So I built a computer, and that allowed Sony Vegas to run a lot faster. And, then it wasn't such of a headache as far as, trying to get videos cranked out and everything. So I'm like, I love real film. I really did. I still do today. I still love real film. But during
like when you say real film, like actual film.
Right.
Like,
well, if you want to call it that. Yeah, I mean, not real, like REE.
Right, yeah.
But a live action type film, which is fine. And that's all I'd ever done up until then. But I was in class one day, and I'm just like, I love the computer so much. I'm like, and of course, we've watched Disney and DreamWorks and all these guys growing up and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm like, let me just look. And actually, my first place I looked was Pixar because cars made it. I don't like I don't know what it is about cars. I just love them. So I looked up. I'm like, how did they do it? What does it take? What kind of software they used. And a guy in my music class that was supposed to be, he'd been around the world, already married, kind of
Cultured.
He's already been pre-cultured. Got out of college, come back into college, and he was like, "Dude, you ought to check out Blender. It's a free animation program. Just see if you like it. See if your computer, my computer would definitely run it. But so I got it. And you talking about a wall? It's like you open, and of course, you see all these movies animated and everything. You're like, all they do is just build, do this, and do this, and put this, and click this, boom, done, movie. It don't work like that. It don't work like that at all. And this interface, you think Premiere and After Effects is busy? A 3D animation program is in your face.
I can only imagine.
Oh man, I should have brought my computer.
Yeah,
but
I was watching a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say what documentary it was because I don't want anybody to judge me. But I was watching a documentary and it was about this TV show, and where they turned around. I'll say it. I don't care. There was a documentary about South Park.
Okay.
And how they produce their show is they produce it in 6 days.
Wow.
So from script, from like idea to like airing,
6 days.
6 days.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But
Sounds like Creed.
they were yeah, it's just like Creed.
Just like Creed.
Creed's the original South Park.
I barely even seen the show.
Except that not as vulgar. But and I don't watch the show, but I thought the documentary was interesting. So but anyway, how they were like moving everything around is it's literally stop motion.
Yeah.
And they were saying that like they were in there literally all night, like just animating this 21-minute episode.
Yeah.
And every time that anybody was wanting to say anything, they had to move everything like super slow. I look stupid doing that, but they move
What
like
are
so
those,
slow.
like claymation?
Yeah,
Dude.
it was almost like claymation, but they did it on the computer, and I don't know why they didn't just like make it more smooth. But I guess when you're on a time crunch, you don't have time to make it smooth. So they were just like, I just keep it moving like this.
Well, there's a cinematic style while they do stop motion. It's a animate by two. It's called animating by two, or on the two. Is the
I said like I knew. I don't. But go.
Yeah.
all right. So a typical film, guys, is 24 frames a second.
Right.
The reason 24 frames a second was originally created. First of all, we started with real film, like the reel. Well, the scientists and cinematologists back then, that was the perfect number, the lowest perfect even number that our eyes could not see frame by frame. That was smooth enough to work properly.
Okay.
That's why 24 is in cinema today. It wasn't because it was just a weird number. It was because that was the slowest even divisible number that the audio beside the film could be in sync, and the lowest number to keep the reels as small as possible.
Yeah.
So what stop motion animation back in the day when it first started, they said, well, since we have a 24 FPS system, why don't we save time by cutting it in half and doing 12 and projecting it twice? They also had projectors that would do 24, 48, and 72. What they would do, they would
72 frames per second.
but it's using the same reel as a 24. But it would
Super
it
fast.
It would open it was a blade that had
Yeah.
3 holes in it, and it would flash 3 times instead of 1 to mimic a smoother.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Okay,
what they
okay.
did,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
what they would do is they would use the 12 frames per second, and then play it back on a normal 24, and it still doubled, so it's fine. And it also gave it that artistic separation between a real film and an animated film, and that's why it saved time, same cost, save cell room, but it gave it a stylized cartoon feel that they could separate the path, because Disney was working on like Snow White and that kind of thing, where they were trying to set apart and create another type of film.
Disney was.
No. Disney was doing the 24. You know, they draw 24, and it was
Like more smooth. real
right. It was
life.
very smooth.
Yeah.
But the cartoonists were like, well, one, they had to turn a lot more content a lot quicker. So obviously
Yeah.
that makes sense. But it also gave it that kind of, it gave it a cartoon look.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the 12 per second on the, animating on the half,
Right.
on the 12, whatever. That's where that come from.
Yeah.
So
I was watching. There was another documentary about The Hobbit.
okay.
They shot The Hobbit in 60 frames per second, which is super smooth, and it almost looks
Too smooth.
too smooth. It's almost like fake. But you would
Yeah.
think that you would like, if you're watching a movie in 4K, 60 frames per second, you'd be like, oh, this is gonna look so good. But it doesn't.
It looks fake
It looks fake.
because it's so real.
Yes, it looks fake
And
because
you're like,
it's so
this
real.
isn't TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know. When I watch a movie, I want it to look like I'm watching a movie. I do not want it to look like it's real.
Yeah,
But it
because,
is. What if it is real? I mean,
But, like, even like,
I know what
I
you're
don't
talking
know.
about.
I like movies that are like,
like, I was gonna buy a
Super-
4K TV, and then I like did my research and like watched a bunch of 4K TVs, and like, I don't like it.
really?
Like it
Well,
looks.
I'm different. I like the 4K.
I mean, I
TVs.
like the 4K, but like just watching TV, it's like
Oh, yeah.
I want it to look like TV. Like it's too real.
I want it to look staticky.
It's too
Yeah.
real. I don't like it.
Caleb still has the little bunny ears at his house. He's got some.
I do have a box on the back of my TV,
So you're right.
But
but it was free, so
really?
yeah.
Oh,
you
okay.
get a
Well, never
good
mind.
look?
I'm no longer will I judge.
Right.
But yeah, I just thought that was really. I don't know. I didn't like that, and I thought it was interesting that they would make a movie 60 frames per second. I didn't understand why they made it
Yeah.
like that, but I mean, I can only imagine if somebody did it in 120 frames per second, which is dumb, stupid. would
Unless
anybody
you're
make-
planning on doing Fast and the
Like
Furious.
slow motion.
Yeah, some of Fast and Furious was shot at 120.
But they do that. So I think you were telling me that whenever they
That makes sense. Like slow motion, you can.
are driving through walls, they do it like in a fast frame. I think I'm getting this right. I could be completely wrong, but they do it in like a fast frame so that whenever they like bust through the wall, they can slow it down and like add different effects and stuff in there. Am I
Is that-
wrong?
yeah.
Am I wrong about that, or am I
What
right?
did, if, especially, all right, let me use a specific movie, for instance. The Fast and Furious 7. I believe it's the 7. I may be wrong on the numbers because who makes like 8 or 9, 100.
It's now Fate of the Furious, so I don't know.
Fate?
Fate. That's 8. Fate 8 of the Furious.
Still haven't seen that.
I haven't either.
So anyway,
refuse.
there's one of
I have them, just never
I
watched
guess
them.
I'm just going to say Fast and Furious because I don't know which one it is. There's the one with the red car that jumps out, that jumps from one.
Oh, that's
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. That's what.
They all jump out of a building.
That's when all the cars jump out of buildings. Yeah.
I'm talking about the. Okay, it's a specific
It's
shot
in
with.
Dubai. Why did I say that so weird?
Oh no, it's a big
Dubai.
skyscraper.
Dubai.
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 Anyway, they jump from one skyscraper to another.
That's a 5.
Is it? I don't think so.
That's 5.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
numbers don't matter. It's
No, it
just-
does matter. We have to get to the
It's
bottom
5.
of this.
It's 5.
While they dispute, we'll figure it out.
Okay, so 5, Fast and Furious 5, is when they're robbing the dictator, and they steal the safe, and they're driving through the city.
Yeah.
They don't jump through any buildings. I think it's 6, because that's the one. Yeah, I think it's 6.
I think you're wrong.
Where they drive through the gallery, and they're swerving around through the building, and they're trying to get away from something, and they just jump out of the window, and they land in another building across the street.
And it's far away.
It's way
Well, it's
too
always
far.
got to be far away.
It's far away.
I mean-
but like, there's no drop on the car. It's
I
just
know
like-
it goes in a straight line.
It's like left on the 28th floor, landing on the 28th floor.
I know, it's crazy. So anyway, let's get back to the principle that we were trying to get to.
No, but I still don't think that it's the.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Let Creed speak.
Okay.
All right, so anyway,
Fine.
what they do when you remember Dukes of Hazzard?
Yeah.
They went
Yes.
through hundreds of cars
Oh, I
Overall-
imagine.
Oh yeah. for
because
sure.
back then they didn't have the 3D composition
It was all
software.
real.
Right, it was all real.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it was all real. But there's still, if you go back and watch it, if you go frame by frame in Dukes of Hazzard, you can still find where they switch cars. Like they would jump it over the bridge, and then the frame before it hit the ground, they'd put another car.
Really?
And they would drop the car from a crane on that last frame.
Oh.
So it would have motion blur. They would drop the car, and it would take back off. Because there ain't no way that Roscoe and them can jump all the way over that bridge and be perfectly fine, not a scratch on the. Nah, ain't
Well,
no
there
way.
goes my childhood.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I always thought they did those stunts.
No.
For real. Oh, well.
There was only a couple bridges. There was only a couple small jumps where they jump over like hay bales and stuff that they
That's
really
so
did.
cool though.
Yeah, there's a lot more
Did you know
work.
that John
Yeah.
Schneider is located in Louisiana?
Really?
He could be on the podcast.
Well, there you go.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later.
That's a after the mug conversation.
Ooh, I like that. This is After the Mug. Say that again. Say it in your deep
That
voice.
sounds like a
This
crime.
is after the mug.
Oh, I like what?
It sounds like a crime.
Mug, like,
After
I'm
the
gonna
mug.
mug you, son. Oh, see, that's we're scouts. We're always prepared. Look at me, making a big old man. Let me get you that.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you weren't watching the video, Creed just spilled his mellow yellow.
He just toasted my shoulder.
He toasted Caleb's shoulder and spilt it all down everywhere. That was hilarious.
That was pretty fun.
Okay, back to what we were talking about. Fast and Furious.
Right,
Dukes of Hazzard.
right. So anyway, the
Fake cars.
All right, so in the Fast and Furious movie with the skyscraper, what they would do.
5.
Oh, we don't know which one it is, Dad. All right, so what they would do is they'd take the car and they would put all the actors. It's on a sled. It's on a electronic and hydraulic rail that the car's on. But it's underneath the car, so you won't see it. And
Yeah.
of course, they go in and frame by frame, rotoscope, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, what they'll do is they do the whole scene. They'll slide it around, and when they get to the last shot before it goes out the window, they actually can do two things. One of them, which what they did here, they had it on the rail, and they literally shot the car, went all the way up to they had a fake piece of glass that they busted, and they hit the car with the glass and stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
But they shot it, and they shot it. I don't know I'm not 100% that it was 120, 60, because the red cameras, they shoot at like 96 and 100. They
It's
shoot.
Fast and Furious 7.
Okay.
I just looked it up.
Nerd.
Okay.
So
We
anyway,
were both wrong.
so it's on the rail, and
glad.
they shoot the car into the window, but they stop it. It's got a retaining cable on the back of it, and they shoot it into a fake window, and they break the glass, and they stop the car. Then the next scene,
In the frame.
right in the frame.
And then
And then that whole scene across the skyscrapers.
Skyscrapers.
skyscraper.
All- they take real pictures of the car.
Oh my gosh! Because they're crabbing in the sky. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay,
We can
okay.
continue.
Chicken Little.
Moving forward.
Okay.
So anyway, long story short, so the whole scene, the whole shot where they're going across is obviously 100% fake. Mm-hmm. And then they do the reverse of that. And sometimes they do it backwards. Like where it goes through the window on the other side, they'll do it backwards. They'll take the car and run it into the glass backwards.
Oh.
And then digitally composite the glass, because it wouldn't break going backwards. The glass would have to go in the building, not come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they would run it up and they would run it fast and hit it up against the back and stop it before it went. They probably would stop that one before they got to the window. Mm-hmm. And then they would composite the glass going through, because otherwise you can't make a car look like it's going fast if you shoot it at high frame and slow it down.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously slowing the car down as you slow the footage down.
Yeah.
So they run it, and then they digitally composite the glass and such.
So they go to Dubai, and they literally just throw cars out of windows to make this movie, is what I'm hearing.
No.
And then
They make their own window.
the only
No,
time
yeah, I
they
know.
ruin a car is the shot that the car goes when there's another car, like the bad guy or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm really not. I don't know these movies.
I don't know them either. I mean, I like them. I love
We
them.
clearly don't. I thought it was
I love the movies, but
So anyway, the villain, whoever, when they shoot it out the window, they have one shot, and they have 10 to 12 cameras ready, every angle possible that the director could even think of, and they literally do shove it out the window. They shoot it out the window.
they go to Dubai, and they literally throw it out the window. They give no one a warning that's on the ground.
No, there's
They
plenty
just
of-
throw it out the window and say, "Watch out!"
I have a friend from Dubai. That's pretty typical.
Really, pretty typical. People just throwing cars out of windows left
Yeah.
and right.
But they have enough money to.
Yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
true.
So
I guess all
anyway.
those rich.
Yeah, they definitely have money.
Really?
I was
In Dubai?
You
I don't know where Dubai is. I'm an
It's in-
idiot.
It's the richest country in the world.
is it Saudi
Shows what I
Arabia?
know. I'm an idiot.
I think it is Saudi
I
Arabia.
think so. It's like the
Yeah.
oil capital of the world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, seriously, I was buying a plane ticket one time, and this guy worked with me, made maybe less money than I did. I don't know. It was like,
Oh, was that the guy?
yeah, that guy.
Yeah, okay.
He was like, dude, you should really fly this airline. I was like,
You almost did an accent right there. You almost
Yeah,
did
even
an
trying
accent.
he's like,
He was
"Oh."
like, I don't want to be racist. Anyway.
He was like, oh, you should fly this airline. I was like, okay, like, why? He's like, you can take a shower. And I was like, okay.
on the
that's-
plane.
Yeah, like on the plane. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, but
Oh,
like,
I've seen those before.
I usually shower
Before you get on the
before I get on the plane. So like,
But not today.
and he was like, man, it's cheap, man. It's only like $15,000. And I was like,
Is that guy... Okay, that guy had to be just like wanting to flex. Dude, it's cheap, man. It's only $15,000. You've got $15,000 laying around,
like,
right?
that's they have money. His whole family's from Dubai.
But him thinking, oh, dude, like it's cheap. Like you work together. He knows how much he makes, so he probably has a good idea of what you make,
Yeah, but he
And then he's calling that cheap.
and he's calling that cheap. So
Yeah.
I think he's probably flexing on you. He's probably like, look, I mean, I've got money, man. It's like,
he literally paid $15,000 to take a shower. So
and that's what I like to call an idiot, or idiot of the day. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry, Creed. Was that it? Was that the?
Yeah, I mean that's the
Because
best.
that's pretty dope.
yeah,
I would love to work on
literally
movies.
No idea. Any of
And
that.
I mean, there's so many tricks to that. Like when he falls out of the car, a lot of it. If you go and watch it, of course you can't see it because they obviously make it good enough where you can't see where they do
Yeah.
it.
Right.
A lot of car shots are done backwards. Bus, any type of wreck, is always done backwards.
I do. I was watching another behind the scenes. It was this one was of The Walking Dead, and it was the Negan scene where he was. It was a big controversial scene where he was hitting him on the head with the baseball bat.
yeah, I don't want to talk about
And,
it.
well, I'm just saying that because this
I know.
is part of the thing. Well, whenever he goes down, he's not going down; he's going back,
Yeah,
and they're doing it in reverse, so it looks like he's coming down like super hard, but he's really just coming up super hard. And I was like, man, that's actually really cool. So I tried it. With my phone. You can
Yeah.
like flip it around, and it worked. And I was like, wow, look, I'm a movie. I'm a movie.
I'm a movie.
I'm a movie.
Groovy, man.
Anyway, so Creed, we've talked about a lot, dude. We've really dived into a lot, but there's something I really want to dive into. I really want to talk about
Sure.
your new project that you're working on.
Absolutely.
You're working on an animated movie.
I
Tell
am.
us a little about that.
Okay. I'm working on an anime. First of all, the title.
Yes.
There is no title yet. I've run into some confrontation with Hallmark Channel.
Those. Yeah.
No,
I freaking hate Hallmark.
Hey,
that's the best
I'm not
Christmas
bitter. I'm just kidding,
The month
man.
of December is Hallmark month.
That's the channel that you watch and cry and sob over the love stories, whatever.
Yeah.
I hate
No, I'm
I
just-
don't like Hallmark.
But anyway.
Anyway, so why?
No. I want to stay on this for a second, Caleb.
Why?
Don't take this away from me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was gonna call it Christmas on the Bayou.
Okay.
But Hallmark Channel had a 2013 movie called Christmas on the Bayou, and
I think I saw that.
you probably did.
Probably 23 times.
But yeah, they had the movie what I wanted to call it, and frankly enough, it was almost like it wasn't my movie, but it was scary how close it was. I'm like, I've never seen the movie, never heard of it, never nothing. I'm like, crap. Now I got to go back and make sure. Of course, mine's animated. Mine has a completely different. The Christmas on the Bayou was like the Santa would come to help or whatever, acting like a the gift giver type deal. Well, mine was not even that. Mine was obviously about God.
Yeah.
So that's a different perspective. So anyway, long story short,
the Antichrist Santa.
even though Saint Nicholas was originated from a man that was based off of like the wise men thing where they bring gifts and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was in Mexico.
I think it
something
was,
like
yeah.
that. Some guy,
Some
Saint
saint,
Nick,
yeah.
would
around, yeah.
literally Saint Nick. He would go around and give like gifts of like money or like food to different people. No joke.
It's not funny. For some
It's
reason,
not
I
a
just
joke.
thought
I don't know why
I
you're
just thought
laughing.
that was funny. Like I just thought. Anyway,
So-
continue.
So anyway, there's no title. So it's
The unknown movie.
The unknown.
I almost knocked it over.
I looked at that.
It's
I
topped
thought that
off.
moved by itself.
Huh?
I was like,
Yeah, that So, it's an animated movie.
Right.
You love animated movies.
Absolutely.
Who? How long have you been into animation?
I got my first copy of a 3D animation program at the very end of 2015. I had just built my computer the year before, and got familiar with how Windows and how the code and everything, or not code, but how the system worked and how to deal with files and stuff. So I'm ready to take it on.
Yeah.
So Autodesk, I use the whole Autodesk platform.
I played with Autodesk a little bit.
And but you do yours for construction applications, right? Like Inventor or
Yeah, I've used like Revit and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I use Maya. That's
Okay.
the platform. That's the platform that most animation studios use. Is
Mm-hmm.
between that and a couple of other large. Anyway,
Maya is super like in depth too, isn't it?
it's
like
is crazy in depth.
yeah.
Most Autodesk stuff is
Oh, I'm sure.
pretty crazy,
Yeah.
just from what I've played around with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like Inventor and Revit, they're not easy programs either.
Yeah.
See, and I'm trying to learn all the Adobe stuff, so I'm sure, and like all this stuff, like there's so much to learn. So I'm sure all those kind of
It's
programs.
the same. But here's the deal I will say about this. Video editing, any type of computer program that does the same thing, most of the time across the platform, they're quite similar.
Yeah.
Vegas, Premiere, Final Cut, Avid, they all cut and edit, all sound design, they all do the same thing. Same thing with 3D animation, where you're using Modo or Rhino or 3D Coat or ZBrush, Maya, Max, whatever. They all do the same thing.
This man is name dropping.
Yeah. I know some of these words.
So anyway, it's like once you learn the foundation of whatever job you're doing, foundation on Jesus. But whenever you learn the foundation of a program and what you're trying to accomplish, most programs will have the basics no matter what. Now, the main difference about programs is where the buttons are, what this button does, how it's laid out, but the ideology and physical use of the controllers are all the same. So
Okay.
I went with Maya because it's like, as a construction guy, I know how stuff is built. I can look at products. That's another gift of mine. Is I can look at something and tell you how it's made in the real world and how you would make it in a computer. It's just a gift. I mean, I can look at something and break it down into materials and textures and construction and all. You
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Of course, I hope you do too.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand everything. No. Well, like what is the movie about? Can I ask that?
Sure.
Do you want to give away the plot?
I'll give some.
Okay.
All right,
give away some.
all right, so the general synopsis of the story is that it's on the bayou, obviously. It's about two families. It's kind of a bipolar world, not bipolar, like polar opposites. You know what I'm talking about? So you've got an old man and the racketiest old shack ever made. Like it's on like these old oil barrels. It's like ratchet strapped and zip tied, and there's a hole in the roof, and he's got a tarp over it, and he's like, "I had a hole," you know what I mean? So it's just an old part out on the lake, and he's just
sounds
out.
like my uncle.
Wow, it'll hold. I had to do a little duct tape. I had to fix it. So anyway, it's an old man that's on the bayou, and he has absolutely nothing. Like everything's held together with absolutely nothing, but he's so happy.
Yeah.
And it's like he has the essentials for life. He has his basic human necessities, but he's got the joy and the happiness of what it's like to be a godly man.
Without the material thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he's in his world, and this is all happening on the same little bayou. I haven't decided if the cabin across the bayou is going to be built, being built as the story progresses, or either it's already built anyway. There's a cabin across the bayou that's Of course, it's 1960s. I should have said that to begin with. This is 1960s because I love that old.
Feel.
Like not like Fallout, but you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
like that older stuff. That's
Yeah.
but I'm gonna make it new. It's not old because it'd be now. But
Yeah.
so the cabin across the bayou is. I think I'm gonna leave it empty at first, and a new family is gonna move in. It's a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister, and they have everything they want: the best house, the best car, the best boat. Of course, this is the 60s, so it's not like now, but they got the top of the line everything. And one of the main features of the movie is a radio. That's kind of because that's the best way back then that they had communication. They had TVs, but it was kind of. I think I want to go back a little bit further than 60 because I don't want the TV to exist.
Yeah, because the TV came out with the 50, 51 or
So
something.
maybe
I
50s.
don't think it was that because Andy Griffith was in the 40s.
No, it came out in the TV came out in the 50s.
50s.
Am I just an idiot?
Did they shoot it?
Yeah.
No, they may have shot.
You said yeah.
He's not an idiot. I don't know if it was shot in the 40s or the 50s, but anyway, it was old. But so like I said, guys, the movie is still in pre-production, very much the far end of the pre-production.
The first demonstration of television in the U.S. was 1928.
Like
TV?
Yes, of a TV.
like household TVs.
Like when did RCA or something come out?
Yeah.
Like when did the standard? Well, if they're at the top of the line, they'd have everything anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, it's animated. You can do. That's what I love about animation is
Yeah.
because you can do whatever you want. There's no rules about this isn't in this time period or whatever.
The first regular TV broadcast occurred on January 13th, 1928.
You just restated.
You already-
I just typed. I said, when did the household TV come out? That's the first
okay,
broadcast.
okay.
We'll double check your timeline later.
Google it, baby, Google it.
Okay, I was wrong about Andy Griffith.
Oh yeah.
Andy Griffith was in the 60s, not the 40s.
Okay, so
So it's about the same.
Yeah.
Same timeline.
okay, well maybe I just didn't want to have to deal with the TV. I thought the radio was more a verbal. See, the reason I chose the radio is because what is the best tool we have as humans? We have communication,
Yeah.
and the radio was the best item that's not a human to represent the communication back then. That's
The
easily
whole
right.
Storytelling.
I needed something that the old man could have and the new people could have. So he's got he's of course
Probably made it.
it wasn't a
That's-
9-volt battery.
wow,
but I mean,
that's-
you know what I'm saying.
That's
But-
really true. Like,
You know what I'm saying?
because if you did it present day, the old man wouldn't have the big TV, but they would have the big TV with Netflix and Hulu
Right.
and all the
Yeah.
big stuff, and he would be at home with a radio.
right,
So there wouldn't be any crossover between the two.
right. That's why I had to put it in that timeline where radios. were
yeah.
kind
I
of-
like that.
Yeah.
And of course, the old man's is like, he's got the wire run up out of his thing. And he's on his back. I don't know.
That's how
He's got a little rat running around, charging. I don't know.
That would be funny.
man.
That is pretty funny.
Let's see, how's he going? I don't know how am I going to get him electricity? He's out in the middle of no. Well, I don't know.
Well, if the house across the
Could be
bayou
like
has
a-
electricity.
Could be like a candlelight.
no,
right
he's
there.
got an extension cord running behind the cabin. He's still. No, he's a good guy. No, I don't know.
That's so funny.
I don't know how he's going to get electricity. See, that is the part of pre-production and making
Oh,
your
you
story.
could make him like a mad scientist type guy, and he just like tinkering away.
A mad bayou dweller.
Yeah, but like he's like running off of like alligator power or something. Like, he's like knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. Well,
So-
it sounds like it's in the very early stages of production.
It is. I mean, all right. So anyway, you've got the cabin, the new people.
Mm-hmm.
They have everything. He has nothing, but they are miserable. The mom and dad they're not divorced, but they're just and the kids are.
They're bitter.
Hey. Yeah.
I'm not bitter.
He's not better.
So anyway, so they're miserable. They have everything in the world they could ask for, but they don't. The mom and dad don't get along, and the kids are always getting in trouble because they're bothering mom and dad or whatever. Anyway, it's not a great situation because every story has to have a conflict. A story without conflict is just
Story.
news. Just
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So basically, how the story works is that the new guys move in. The old guy's there. He does the same thing. Gets up and fishes and goes out and does his daily routine, whatever. And when they move in, like the first day they move in, the kids get kicked out of the house. They did something wrong. They knocked something over or whatever. And I was one of the main things I was going to get them to knock the radio over. That was going to be like the not the climax, but that's what's going to like really set the family off because they paid all the
communication.
Right, exactly. They cut their line of communication off. So anyway, they get kicked out of the house all the time. Well, they're like, well, they're on the bayou. They're used to having everything, and they're on the bayou, and the kids are like, well, what are we gonna do? And they see a silhouette of the guy out there fishing. So I'm like, well, who's
They
that
just
guy?
start drinking the bayou water. This is all we can
Oh,
do.
this is good for me, so anyway, they see the old guy, and they start going over to the old guy. And of course, the old guy, being a godly man and stuff, being just an old, a gentle giant type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he, every old man would love to play with little kids. He's like, hey, why don't you come over here? And we'll, whatever they play. And anyway, over the story, they go over and they keep talking to the old man and stuff. What? Did I miss something? Knocked over.
No, continue.
There. So anyway, over time, the old man is starting to have an influence on the kids, and basically what happens is over time, with him playing with them and stuff, he starts telling them like, y'all, what are you doing?
I'm sorry. Oh,
You got a cramp?
yes.
Old Charlie horse.
I'm sorry. You got hurt so bad. It came back.
Is it?
I was trying to get my foot from out of in between like these little things in the chair.
You've had your feet up there the whole time?
Yes.
Oh boy.
How have you had your?
Put your feet on the floor,
I had
boy.
my feet like behind.
The struggle is real, y'all.
Oh, we're cutting this out.
Okay.
Definitely not.
We are humans, So anyway, the
Just go lean back now.
okay.
I don't
Are
care.
you
If
okay?
I don't care if I'm in frame or not. I'm not. I'm just leaning back.
He's still in frame. Are you ready now?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
ready.
So anyway, what happens is the old guy has a lot of influence on the kids, and it winds up that he starts telling them stories. They come over and they're all sitting in. The two kids are sitting in, and of course the boathouse is literally no bigger than this table plus the wall. Like it's like tiny.
Yeah.
So they're all crammed in there. Of course, you have to make it comically
Yeah.
small because he has nothing. But anyway, they're like one of the key points of one of his best lines in the movie is that it's like y'all could have a lot better life if y'all just had joy and peace in your life. And the kids are like,
Where do we buy it?
right,
What is this joy and peace?
right. So they go back and they ask their mom and dad, what is it? And they're like, oh, that's just some stuff that
Some fairy tale.
something you hear at church or whatever, because they're like whatever.
Yeah.
And over time, the kids keep going over there, and he keeps, if you want your mom and dad to stop fighting and whatever, you ought to, just tell them that you love them, that you care about them, and that that they could have a better life if they just didn't worry about everything and just tried to enjoy life. And there's, and then, if you know Jesus, you'll have the best life ever. Because, they have the best of everything. They're like, well, we want the best life possible. The only way to have the best life is to be a follower of Jesus. So, when the kids go back over the last time, of course, this is Christmas time, obviously. That's when it was Christmas on the bayou until the Hallmark, whatever. So,
Stupid
So-
mom.
What about like Christmas on the Swamp? Is that?
well, I mean, it's got to be more.
That's too close to
Yeah.
Christmas on the bayou, I think.
So,
The swamp?
Christmas on the Creek.
Christmas on the creek.
So anyway, long story short, they wind up going back to the house the day, like Christmas Eve, and they're like, look, Mom, Dad, y'all are miserable, we're miserable because everybody doesn't like everything, but we have everything, and there's this old guy down the bayou that has nothing, but he's the happiest man alive. It's like, let's just see what he has to say. So they invite him over. Now, of course, the mom and dad's like, well, if the kids like him so much, maybe we ought to do it. Because they want the best for their kids deep down, even though they're,
Yeah.
So they invite him over for Christmas dinner, and they realize it's like, wow, this guy has nothing, but yet he has the best life ever, and we want to try to live that life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, that sounds like a really good story.
I think so.
I can't wait to see it.
Is there some like hidden like metaphor that he's like some anonymous like Jesus or something like that?
Anonymous Jesus?
No, just like you ever hear the
Wow,
story?
Caleb, that's a little sacrilegious.
I don't know if you can put that in a sack or not, but I mean,
like he's
I
like
get what you're saying.
He's like a subtle analogy for something.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Like he
for what? Like
he is the like he's
Jesus.
like he's
all
Jesus.
along or something. Like that.
I mean,
I always thought that those kind of stories were kind of like gimmicky. Like, oh, it was Jesus the whole time. I don't ever like those stories. Now, I'm not saying like do this in your movie, but I don't like those.
That's
kind
why
of
I'm asking.
stories.
I'm just curious.
Because
So
I feel
you're
like
saying
if
it
you
would-
did, I feel like if you did that, then how are we doing on time?
Hour 10.
Hour 10. Okay.
we're still there.
So
Probably should wrap up pretty soon.
yeah, I was trying to. What was I about to say? When you do like stories like that, and you're saying like, okay, oh, this is actually really Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't ever like those stories because number one, I'm like, okay, well now the story. I know we just talked about how TV we don't like it to be real,
Yeah.
but there has to be some type of realism in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Jesus hadn't come back yet, so he's not going to be on the bayou.
Well,
You
it
know?
wasn't supposed. I mean,
I know, but I'm just
Right.
saying, like,
He's
I'm just saying,
omnipresent.
but he is omnipresent, but he's not
There you go.
manifested in flesh.
Oh, okay.
So,
You got me there.
so I don't know. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
Like, there's some show on PureFlix. They have their little app, and it's like Jesus is like a character on the show,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like just walking around like helping people, which is great. That's what
the
he.
encounter.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's it.
and
And his name literally is Jesus.
Yeah, his name's Jesus.
Like the one they go to the diner. And
I
the car breaks
saw
anyway,
one
anyway.
where it was like they're at a hospital or something.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that it doesn't make any sense. Like,
Well, see, that's
Jesus is not manifested.
that's not a realistic perspective
Excuse
of
me.
what. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. I'd never liked those kind of stories.
Well, the reason I was using a guy instead of Jesus, I mean, obviously I wouldn't use Jesus because of that reason. He's not back. He's he's coming back, but he's not back yet. But
soon and very soon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, anyway, I'm sorry.
but yeah, it's like if you can use an old guy that's not Jesus, that's just a regular old person, that shows how much powerful God is using people, just
Yeah.
ordinary, regular
An
people.
old
Yeah.
man
Right.
that doesn't have anything.
Right, they think he has nothing, but they realize that it's like getting back to what Connor's saying. It's like if the old man can have it, anybody can have it. Like the point is, it's like it's nothing that y'all couldn't have. Y'all just have to accept it and
Yeah. Like
You know.
you're obviously in a better position to have whatever you want
right,
over
Yeah.
this old man, but he's
right. He's carrying the truth, and that's the reason that's like the whole.
That'll
like,
preach.
there you go.
Yeah.
But it's like that just shows that anybody can carry the gospel with them anywhere they go, no matter what they have or what they don't have.
Yeah.
So it's like a moral of the story. It doesn't matter what you have. It's not how much you have. It's what you have. It's not who you are, but whose you are. It's there's. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Somebody start playing the organ.
That's your organ.
Yeah, that's my organ. Yep.
wow.
Okay.
So, but anyway,
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, dude. That sounds like a
Yeah.
great movie. I'm ready to see it.
When's the release?
When's it released? When's it come out?
it's projected to try to have the first trailer by December.
Sweet.
Oh, okay.
That way, I would have a full year
Yeah.
to get all the production, to get the right render systems and all of that in place and start.
Sweet.
So
Well, if you need somebody to play two kids, Caleb can play the girl and I can play the boy. So,
Huh? Why? Why do I have to play the girl?
I don't know. All right, guys. This has been a great episode of the Blue Mug Podcast. Creed, it has been fantastic having you on. This has been a great episode. I think it's been a good one. Caleb,
For sure.
Creed.
I've loved it.
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap it up right there. Thank you for listening. We will be back next week. Same time, same place.
With the balloon.
Podcast. The Blue Mug Podcast. Let's take our final sip. Let's clink them and drink them. Still didn't hit Caleb. We're gone.